Well, we don't have an intro, so welcome to our unnamed podcast. I would like to thank our sponsor, Oxygen.
Yeah.
Without it, this would not be possible.
Yeah, big shout out to Oxygen for,
Big shout out.
keeping us alive.
Keep us alive, man. And being the only sponsor we have. Well, I'm Nevin, as you know. And this is Steven. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up? It's your boy Steve. Yeah, we're here to talk about whatever we want because that's what we can do and nobody can say otherwise. So
True. This is America. Well, we only have really one topic on the board today, but I'm sure we'll get into a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
Today I want to talk about the transition between military and civilian life. As a lot of people are born civilians and stay civilians, don't go through much more of a transition than that. So I've been out for, as we just found out, pretty much exactly 2 years. I got out in October of 2018. And so I want to compare what it's like for you as you've been out less than 2 months now.
Yeah, not even 2 months yet.
So I don't know if you want to tell everybody who doesn't know kind of what you did, what branch you were in, and leading up to getting out here.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and just like Nevin, I was in the Air Force, did 4 years of that, and I was in Germany for 2 years of it. And then I came back stateside, and I was stationed in Tucson, Arizona. I was there for about a year and a half. And, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good experience, and I just was looking for different avenues of life, and just didn't want to make a career out of it. And so, did the 4 years and got out. Now I'm back here in Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas. Got a job that I'm going to start soon here actually on the Army base here. Hopefully in the next, probably 2 weeks, I think. I'm not sure exactly. I need to get in contact with them, actually.
Yeah.
They haven't contacted me in a little bit, so probably sometime this week, or next week, I guess, because today's Saturday. So next week I'll either hit them up or something. But anyway.
And what did you do in Air Force?
Oh,
what was
yeah.
your job?
I was aircraft maintenance. I was an engine troop on C-130s. Kind of cool.
Is that the plane when you start Warzone?
Yeah,
actually,
I mean, pretty much. It's of course it's not going to be like specifically and accurate of what it looks like, but it's basically that plane.
I'm sure for people who don't know what a C-130 is, just the visual of dropping into Warzone.
Yeah,
will be like, oh, that's
like,
the one.
Okay, I mean, yeah, we'll just say that it's close enough. It's fine. We'll go with that. But
so you worked on the engines of those.
Yeah, worked on the engines, the propellers. So, it had its ups, had its downs.
Right.
It's probably say more downs than ups,
More downs
but
than
the
ups.
ups were also very good ups. Lots of opportunities out of traveling and stuff I've seen.
Right.
I've been to 20 different countries. Because I got the scratch off maps of the world and everything. You kind of scratch off whatever countries you've been to, and I realized I've been to 20 different countries in 3 continents, including the U.S. and
Dude,
North America.
I used to I see those on Instagram, and in my head I used to be like, dude, only nerds buy those,
right?
Bro. They just stick it on the wall. But then I think about it, you've been to 20, so that's a lot scratched off.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense. So I was harping on the wrong people. I was harping, you just throw it up there,
or
you're not going to get to those places.
Yeah, or you think about those people that are mommy and daddy are paying for their vacations to go to Europe, or going studying abroad for a year or something. And it's like, okay,
You got what, 2, 3 scratched
right?
off? Come on. So 20, that's crazy. All right, so off of that, what was your most memorable country that you've been in?
Oof, man, the most memorable. Of course, Germany. I was in Germany for 2 years, but going outside of being away from the base, outside of work, probably. My favorite country that I went to was either Italy or Spain. And Spain, both times I was there was for work, and so I was only there for a day or two maybe, and it was mostly working. But the time off that we did have was a blast, and it's just Spain is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
I would love to go back and actually be able to spend a week or two and go to Barcelona or Madrid and actually take it all in, because that would just be phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree that I went to quite a few countries overseas as well, and Spain is my numero uno.
Yeah.
As they would say.
Right.
Definitely beautiful weather, the friendliest people, in my opinion. Every country has their stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Everyone was so friendly. The food was so good.
Oh, man.
Weather was amazing.
Yeah.
And for me, Spanish is the most recognizable language.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So it was easier walking around Spain for 2 days than it was walking around an Italian city in a country that I've been in for over a year.
Yeah, right.
Just because, I don't know, Spanish is a little bit easier to interpret.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I mean, I did a year of it worth in high school.
Right.
Not that I remember much of it.
Exactly.
But it's easy to kind of pick up on words here and there to kind of at least get the general idea of what they're saying, or, you know, words if you got, you know, reading a menu.
Right.
Stuff like that, or just signs, you know.
So day-to-day life in the military, what would that look like so you're stationed overseas in Germany.
Yeah.
Obviously, when people think about that, the first thought is probably more like vacations.
Yeah.
But you're working.
Yeah,
you're working all the time.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna just wake up, oh wow, I'm in Germany. Wow, I'm vacation. No, you wake up and you're miserable. Oh, I mean, well, sometimes there is, yeah, but no, you're working. You're there for work. Is literally what you're paid to do.
Right.
You're there to work for the military, for the United States of America, basically.
Right.
So yeah, you know, wake up and you're in at least for me, I was in a dorm room. You know, wasn't able to live off base while I was there. But yeah, you wake up and you're like, well, I guess we'll go to work, and depending if what shift you're on, you know, that was always brutal too, getting switched between night shift, swing shift, mid shift, swing shift, day shift kind of thing, depending on that. But yeah, wake up, go to work, and then, I mean, the only like vacation, quote unquote vacation time was, you know, usually the weekends or holidays. We get like a 3 or 4 day weekend. Then it's like, okay, cool, you got a couple days, and I love that part of it, was how easy it was to travel. Around Europe and stuff, in short drives, you can just see all these crazy cool things in a matter of going a couple hours away from base.
Right.
You know, Paris was that was the first place I went to. Was Paris. When we went to Paris, I think that was no, because I'd done a few local trips around Germany. But the first like big trip that I did was when we met up in Paris, and that was I hopped on the ice train. Right? Was it ice? Was it the ice or? I can't remember either. And anyway, the train that would go like 200 miles an hour or something like that. And it took like 2.5, 3 hours to get from Kaiserslautern, the city right by the base, to in the middle of Paris.
Right.
So yeah, 2 or 3 hours to get there. I was like, oh yeah, easy. And the train tickets weren't that much either.
Right. That's one thing that's wild about Europe is, obviously getting to Europe is expensive. Anytime you got to cross the sea, it's very expensive.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
But once you're in Europe, country to country is predominantly very cheap.
Oh yeah.
And that I remember that being really funny because we both kind of were in our country. I was in Italy, you were in Germany, and we both had our roots enough that we're like, you know, let's travel. Let's like leave the local area a little bit. So we started looking up, and I'm like, okay, let's see one of the big ones. Let's go to Paris. And I remember looking at plane tickets, and I think my plane ticket was €110, probably like $120.
Yeah.
And I remember you being like, dude, I could take the train.
Yeah.
And just thinking like, dude, I gauging distance, like, oh my gosh, you didn't even think that you could take the train to Paris. That's so wild. But those countries are way smaller than we think.
Right.
And so it was so easy to meet up. And I think once we realized that, I mean, I went to so many countries just on a 2-day weekend, let alone a 3-day. Yeah,
I would say even on a regular weekend, if you plan it out good enough.
Right.
Yeah, you could on a regular weekend you could go fly to. I mean, you could go fly to Spain.
Yeah.
You could go fly to Paris.
Absolutely.
Italy, just for a regular weekend. Go all day Saturday, come back Sunday, and you know.
Just wild.
Yeah.
But that's just crazy because the contrast, and then. That's so fun to talk about in all these places, but yeah, the day-to-day grind was crazy, and I think that's something that people don't understand about the military is it's pretty much just a regular job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For the most part,
it's a day-to-day. We call it the shop, you know, because we were both maintainers.
Yep.
Basically glorified mechanics on very expensive machinery. Fun fact, what was the manufacturer of the engines in the C-130?
Oh, so it's Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce, yeah.
Which I thought was wild. But so many big manufacturers make military equipment.
Yeah, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, here's a Rolls-Royce engine. I was like, what? It's like, shoot, this plane's about to be like luxury, like, kush.
Far from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely far from it, yeah.
But yeah, so we had, shops, which basically like an office building,
Yeah.
and then we had different areas where we'd take tools out, but then we just go to the flight line, and that's where a predominant amount of our work was done.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I had, when I first got to Italy, the first 2 months, we had everything was caught up, all the maintenance was caught up, the flight schedules were running beautifully. We had 8-hour days. And I thought that I had made it.
Yeah, you're like, oh man.
It's like, are you kidding me, dude?
Can't complain.
I don't even remember. It was 19 or 19 at the time. 20 maybe. I don't even remember.
No, I mean, we were 20 when we joined.
20,
right?
Wow, dude, I don't even remember.
No,
it was the year after we graduated.
So it was we were 19 when we joined. That's right. Yeah, because we turned 20
overseas.
We turned 20 in tech school. Because we joined towards the end of 16, August of 16.
Wild.
Yeah.
So
I remember I turned 21 in Germany, but I'd already been there for almost a year.
Dude, I turned 21 at a B-dubs in Manhattan, Kansas, the day before I flew back to Italy. It was very depressing.
Oh no!
We're at a blue moon, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm flying back tomorrow."
Yeah. Would you just came back to visit, or?
Yeah, that's just one of the times I came back.
Nice.
Well, that was after our London trip.
Oh.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's right. Because you were gonna go. Yeah, we came back, or whenever we flew back, you were gonna leave. Like, wasn't it like a week or two?
Yeah, I flew out of London back.
Oh, so, no, remember? Yeah, I forgot. Oh, yeah, you went straight from London to... Did you go to Chicago, or...
Yeah, I flew into Chicago and then
that's
down.
Right. I forgot about that, because you took a couple days extra to...
Yeah.
That's right.
Which is weird, too, because whenever I think about my short stint in the military, I think about, like, the good times I had with the friends.
Sure.
The traveling. Mm-hmm. And, like, the few times I came back home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of the work was just a blur. So I'm like, choosing to remember all the good times, definitely. And most of the good times were not at work.
not what you're actually paid to do.
Which is just, it's crazy. And it's also crazy to think that, I mean, we were that young overseas. Oh, that's where I was going with it. 20 in Italy, 8-hour workdays. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the real part of it hits. And I think I spent... probably 80% of the time I was in the military on 12s.
Dude.
Like, even before deployed,
so brutal.
We started getting maintenance issues. We had a couple, like, very good staff sergeants, tech sergeants leave.
Yeah,
stuff started slacking.
That's always the worst when you got those good, when you have good leadership or good people in the shop and they leave, they go somewhere else.
Yep.
And then you're just left with, now what,
Exactly.
You got to deal with a loss. You got to fill in that hole with somebody, and usually that person's not as good as the other person. Good. And so, there's some slacking that comes with that.
And there's, like, that part I think is kind of cool to understand, too, is if the shop's like, hey, this jet's broken, this plane's broken, we're repairing it, that's an order. And we don't really think about it as an order.
Yeah.
But you definitely interpret that as this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other way. There's no, we're going to get home at 40 hours. We're not going to get home at 50 hours. Like, you just do what needs to get done.
Yeah. And there's no overtime.
There's no overtime.
You're not getting paid
overtime.
The
exact same.
Yeah.
And that, I think, to me, is the biggest difference that I've felt between being in the military and being on the civilian side. Like, I remember probably 2 months straight of 12s with multiple weekend duties in the middle. So that would be 12s through the weekend, too.
Oh, yeah.
So over the course of 2 months, maybe having 2-3 weekends free.
That's brutal.
And I remember after those 2 months, someone being like, dude, this sucks. If they call me tomorrow for weekend duty, I'm not coming in.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're joking.
I was going to say, like, you're, as much as you want to say, and you're like, no, like,
we'll say
F this, I'm not going in. Like,
but you're going in.
You're going to go in, otherwise you're.
But now, and that took 2 months of that. And now I'll be at work, and it'll be like a little extra overtime, this extra job, maybe the 9th hour on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I'll hear a coworker say, dude, I swear I'm going to quit if you call me one more. I'm not coming in. And I'm like,
it's like,
there's a difference.
Yeah. Oh, it's a huge difference, man. Yeah, you get screwed over so much, man. Like, yeah, and there's always that rule of like, well, the commander is only approved. You're only supposed to. I can't remember. It's different every base, but like you're only supposed to be there. You can only work for 12 hours. I think is what it was, and sometimes you're on 12s, and you're gonna be there. You're there for 14 hours.
Right.
And then nobody cares.
No one cares.
They're not gonna be like, oh, the commander says we can only be here for 12 hours. Like, okay, but we got work to do. So like, what are you gonna do? Like. Well, I guess I'll work.
Yep.
Can't do anything about it because that's just how it goes,
That's
man.
how it is.
And I haven't really gotten a whole lot of that. Well, I guess a little bit with. Right now, I'm just part-time mowing and doing some landscape. It's mowing and trimming stuff like that, blah blah. Blah. And some of these kids they're all college kids, and like some. And I guess I more notice like maybe the laziness. And just kind of lack of motivation, I guess I could say, but it's not like you have to be motivated and be like, oh, let's go mow some grass. But it's like, we're getting paid by the hour, and so it's like, and Jordan, I work with Jordan. He's he mentioned it too. He's like, we're getting paid by the hour. Why are you trying to like? You might as well make it look good, and like take your time because you're getting paid by the hour. It's not like it's salary pay. We're like, oh, we got to knock out as many lawns as we can, kind of thing. But yeah, I've noticed that for going back to point as noticing those kids, I'm like, man, like coming from military work world and coming to this part-time mowing where kids in college are just doing 20 hours a week maybe,
right?
And it's like they're complaining and stuff, and like, man, I don't want to work tomorrow. Like, and it's like, dude, you're doing like half days, and you're working like 3 or 4 days a week,
right? And the quality of work while you're at work too.
Yeah, we're mowing.
Right.
You're listening to, like, at least me, I'm always listening to, like, podcast music. You're just vibing out while you're sitting there on the mower cutting grass.
What's the one time you ever got to just vibe out, listen to music while you're wrenching?
There's been a couple times.
Really?
There was a handful of times, for sure. Like, we'd be, like, in the hangar.
Yeah, that makes
or
sense.
Something, or, like, in back shop. And, it's a light day, which, it doesn't happen very often. Right. But, a light day where you go, okay, we're just going to go take this part off of here, blah, 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 do some maintenance here. And, we go to the back shop, somebody hooks up their aux cord. And those were the good times.
That makes sense.
Those were some of the good times. And I think that was a big difference between me and you with maintenance-wise is because jets, y'all have, like,
I didn't have
30 planes.
I didn't have a single time wherever, like, even just doing work, where I got to throw on a podcast listening to music. Yeah. Like, you weren't even supposed to have your phone on the fly.
Right. I think, that's just a general rule.
Rule, but ours was very strictly enforced.
I was going to say, that's the thing is different units, squadrons, how strict are they enforcing it? Right. Because in Germany, at Ramstein, they didn't care.
So even now,
we would call the expediter. We would call leadership on our cell phone. We had their numbers on our phone, and we'd call them on our cell phone and be like, hey, yeah, we got this done. The plane's ready to go. Like, all right, cool, thanks, man.
It doesn't apply to leadership.
No. No. And that was the biggest thing, too. I guess being chill compared to being strict was that I noticed that coming from overseas to Arizona to come at stateside was being in Germany, dude. It was mad chill. Like leadership was great, commander was great. Everybody was just relaxed because I feel like the biggest thing is you're in Germany, you're overseas. Right. It's a great time, Coming stateside, it's like everybody's just I don't know. Yeah. Got to stick up their butt or something because they're just it's just super strict and like. But it did not make sense to me because it was a training base. Right. Every time we fly, all the mission, it was a quote mission. It was just training for whenever they would deploy. So like, we didn't need to get that bird up. It's like, okay, sure, they miss a training mission. Like, yeah, you need to train, of course. Right. But I don't think it needs to be like, well, let's go. All right, we gotta work 12 so we can get this plane up. It's like, no, we don't. I don't think we do. Come from the lower end of the totem pole, but
That's a weird thing. I think what I've interpreted from that is when you go overseas, and the most close you'll ever be with your unit is deployed. Oh, yeah. And I think the reason for that is because you're all in one place. There's no chance of you leaving. You all know you're working together, and you spend pretty much every waking moment together. Yeah. There's no weekend vacation. Yeah. So you get really close and you kind of form these bonds even through working even with management and things like that where it works very well. Yeah. And I think on the flip side, when you go to stateside, because at the end of the day, you get to go home to your house
Yeah.
in the United States with your family. It's very easy to have that gap between this is me, this is what I do, and then I go to work.
I definitely noticed that.
So there's not that camaraderie, there's not that understanding, and so it's a lot easier to be like, I'm going to screw this whole group of people over because then I get to go home.
Yeah.
Eat with my family. Like, I don't care because I'll be fine.
It's more of a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Than,
Which, for some reason, makes that way more complicated for all of the work and everything.
And that didn't make sense to me whenever I got stateside.
Really weird.
It just was like a whole different experience because of that factor of, people, like you said, living, like go home, go to my house, I just, go to work, go home kind of thing. Is like, man, because in Germany we would go, weekends, sometimes we'd all, as a shop, and people would bring their families and stuff or whatever, and we'd all, go out, go to a bar for, go eat dinner as a shop kind of thing. Right. And I loved that. It was great. You felt like more of a family. But yeah, then come stateside, like nobody really goes out together, like, because a lot of people have their families, and like, but other than that, like, people don't really care, and like, there's those few, like, it's mainly some single guys, whatever, that can go out and just go drink every weekend. I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't want to do that every weekend. Like, can we just, it was different. That was it was different.
Way different. And I think that can help. Like if you delved into that a little bit more, even if you're a manager of a business as a civilian, or if you like are a leader in a group of friends, or any type of position like that, I think listening to the experiences that we had and small things like how tight a group of people are when they're deployed and can't do anything else can really lend a lot of advice on how people work in different situations.
Yeah.
And I think the best managers that I've had in companies as a civilian really lended to the fact that this team works together and we all grind together, have a goal together, and we do that together.
Yeah.
And those have been the best working environments for me.
Oh, yeah.
I think, even the differences between being a civilian and being in the military, it's still just people. And I think if you process the information like that, I mean, I've had really good working environments and really bad working environments in both.
Right.
It all just comes down to people.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think one of the biggest things that is the difference between being a civilian and being in the military is the uneducation on both parts. And so that's why I think conversations like this are cool, because if you know someone that's in the military, you're a little bit more familiar with people in the military, and there's not that weird difference between them.
That gap,
Exactly.
You have no idea. Like,
no idea.
I've never been in the military. I don't know what it is. I think I think you guys just go kill people or something.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Isn't that what the military is? Like,
so it's I think it's really cool to hear perspectives on both sides. So you just got back, a month and a half ago. How is it just the day-to-day and like your mental, like just how you feel in general? Because I think when it's almost like people who are landlocked have never seen the ocean, you can't even explain seeing the ocean, you just got to experience it.
Yeah.
So how is it for someone who's never been overseas in that environment to come back to the United States? Because it's completely different. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's crazy different going from waking up and like, hey, I'm in Germany. Wow. So because I was the first like couple weeks I'd be like, wait, wow, like I'm here, I'm still here. This is real kind of thing. I never thought. First of all, I never thought I would ever join the military.
Right.
And second of all, I never thought I'd ever see Europe, Africa, or all these different countries. I never thought I would see it. But yeah, waking up now, it's like having all those experiences. Now, I mean, granted, I haven't actually started my full-time job yet, so I haven't really fully gone into the civilian world, I guess you could say, because I've only been part-time at a job.
True.
I mean, granted, I am a civilian now, but yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's just weird. I really don't think it's actually really hit me yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's been a while, but it's still just kind of weird. I think once I actually do start this job, finally start this full-time job, that's when it'll actually kind of hit me like, okay, it's just...
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's an actual, I mean, granted, it's going to be a, different, not a 9 to 5, but anyway. Because for the first while, for sure, it was like, I just felt like I was home on leave.
Right.
And just hanging out, whatever, and then I'm going to go back to work here in a couple weeks. I'll fly back or drive back to wherever I was stationed and get right back to work. So Because that's all I've known for the past 4 years. That's all we've known. Before you got out and everything, that's all we knew was just
leave.
Yeah, just go home on leave and then go back. But it's a whole different thing now, and I'm still trying to I guess wrap my head around it.
That makes sense.
How to try to be a civilian again,
right?
And try to be try to be a normal person, but I don't know. It's also kind of it's exciting and stressful for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The transition has definitely been it's probably the most stressed I've ever been, ever, was getting out of the military.
Right.
Grant, they tell you before you get out when you do a transition class for a week, and they tell you, this is just another transition like you did transitioning to get into the military. And yeah, they're right, but this is you're not just transitioning in. Where transitioning in is okay, I don't have to worry about anything.
It's almost easier.
It's so much
easier
because they want you.
Right.
They're they just want you to be in. They're okay, just sign here, blah blah.
They make it
here.
so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they want you. They need you. The military needs people, and it's just okay, I don't have to worry about health insurance, life insurance, all this stuff. Getting paid it's you just sign your name everywhere, all these papers, you're good to go. Getting out, it's we're gonna make this as terrible as possible.
It's awful.
Because we just want you to not think about it, that you don't want to get out anymore because of how terrible it is.
Right.
And
I mean, up until the day you out processed, your final out day.
Yeah.
You can re-sign.
Oh yeah.
So it's, even though you're going through tabs, you've said goodbyes.
Yeah.
You're on the way out. Until that literal final day, they make it easy for you just to be
you could just opt out.
JK fam, come back.
Yeah, right.
And they'll whoop. Let's go.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Yeah. They don't care about. They're waiting. They're sitting there waiting until the last day. I bet he comes back.
I bet he comes back.
I bet he comes back.
And so because of that, it's almost super backwards because they're preparing you with the hope that you don't actually leave.
Almost seems like it, yeah.
So when you do leave, you're ill prepared.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're on your own.
Yeah.
After, in your case, 4 years.
Dude.
Some people 8, 12, 16 years of being cared for by the military.
Not having to worry about really
and you're
anything.
On the street.
Yeah.
And it's that's weird to say because you'd be oh, but you have all this experience, but you got money saved, but you know how to pay rent. And it's all that is true.
Right.
We're grown-ups.
Yeah.
But when that all hits you in a wave,
dude,
of now every single thing, you need to come back to the state, you need to make sure you have valid license in the state. Everything you own is being shipped, so you don't really have anything yet. You got to find a place to live. There's so many options. Everything has options. Insurance has options.
Oh, God.
Living has options. And all these things hit you in a wave. It's so overwhelming, regardless of how adult you are.
Oh yeah, dude. It's crazy how it just I mean, it was literally the first time I've ever had an anxiety attack was trying to find a place to live in Manhattan.
Right.
Because it just all hit me at once holy crap. I've been doing this for the past 4 years. I have not had to worry about literally haven't had to worry about finding a place to live. No. Haven't had to worry about finding a job. I had a job in the military. That's my job. I didn't have to worry about job, didn't have to worry insurance, stuff like that, because it was pretty much all taken care of for me.
Yeah. And
then you get out and it's oh, now what? What are you gonna do?
Right.
You got to do all this stuff on your own now. It's oh, I got to be a real adult.
Right. It's almost as if the freedom of actually being able to do whatever you want is more terrifying.
It is. Than
being told you have this option or this option.
Well, it's because it's so much easier when it's like that.
Right.
When they tell you that, and that's, I mean, that was I guess what made the military easy. What makes it easy is just you basically, they give you basically two options for not everything, but for the most part it's either you have two options or you don't have an option at all. And for the most part, it's you don't have an option. It's you're doing this, you're doing this. And it's okay, I can't say no.
I think that's what it was for me, especially the first few months, and then seeing that over the past 2 years is that having so many options is almost worse. And I am on my third job since I got out. The first job I had, I lasted 3 months. And the second job, I lasted a year, and then this one I've been at since March, I guess. I can't count. I can't do math.
8 months, 6, 7 months, or
Right.
something like that.
So it was very weird because I was like, okay, I can do anything now. I can do anything. And I rode that high for like 2 days. I'm like, I can start a business. I can go to school. I can, like, I have these options. And then it was literally weeks of, like, depression in the fact that I was like,
reality.
I have no clue where to start. And so I just applied to, like, any and every job.
Yeah.
Just like, dude, I don't even care. Like, I need some form of structure because I'm going insane. Mm-hmm. And that happened 2 days after.
Right? I was gonna say, I definitely felt that once. Like
2 days. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so
reality hits you.
It hits hard, dude. And so 2 years in, I know that now. And so when I look for things, I look for a structure that's going to allow me to move because I do want more flexibility than the military. I don't want as structured environment, but I don't want an environment, and that was what my first job was. It was sales over the phone, and you know I just had lists, and I just could call somebody, but I also could not call somebody.
It was like basically your responsibility to make money. Well,
and it was too soon for me just to have them be like, okay,
kind of freelance.
Just kind of do whatever.
Yeah.
And I fell apart very quick. Mm-hmm. So it's taken me 2 years to get to the point where if I had that job now, I'd be able to function. Yeah. But straight out, I couldn't function because I wasn't specifically being told. I mean, if my manager was like, hey, call 50 people, I'd call 50 people.
Right, yeah.
If she didn't say anything, I would twiddle my thumbs.
Yeah. Sit there on your phone or something and just, well, at the end of the day, all right,
you know? And that's crazy to me, the thought that could get so ingrained in our brains, that, like, need for structure.
Yeah.
And I think, for me, that was the biggest difference I saw between the two environments and through the transition phase was the need for constant structure
for sure
in our own lives.
I 100% agree with that because I've noticed that for sure.
Yeah.
Is like whenever I got out and when I finally got kind of moved in, settled in a little bit into my apartment, and I was like, for the first while I was talking with that with Sue, with the Veterans Employment Rep, and kind of getting things figured out there, and that would only take up a couple minutes of the day, emailing back and forth, filling out some paperwork for her and stuff, but then it just, and then I get to the point of, I was only, I'd a couple days into living there and just kind of sitting there, maybe playing video games or something. I'm just like, I started to go crazy.
Right.
I was just like, I don't know. Like, I need something to do.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, you told me, like, and I realized that too, I'm a very work-driven person.
Yeah.
And now you bring up, like, the structure part that makes 100%, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Is, like, because we've had that structure and we know and are comfortable with that structure, that's what we want now. We want, because it's what we're comfortable with. We want that structure, and I definitely 100% agree with that because that was the biggest thing. Not the biggest thing. That was one of the big things in the military was that I liked. Was I had a schedule, and you had a structured schedule, and it was like, all right, when you wake up at this time every morning, you go to work, you come home from work, chill out for a little bit, whatever. And then go to bed, do the same thing until, on the weekend. It's like, okay, you relax, do your thing, whatever. And that's, like a couple days.
Right.
And, oh man, like, I lost my train of thought a little bit. It was, so finding that structure in, like, the civilian world is really what I'm is what I'm wanting to do. Because I want to have that certain schedule again. I want to find a good schedule that I can be on because that was the biggest thing that I'm comfortable with is knowing that, like, gotta wake up at this time every day, go to work, I'll be off at this time, whatever, maybe it runs a little late, that's what happens in life, but, I guess that's the biggest thing is, with transition, is finding that structure again, to get in that,
Yeah. And I got lucky, because when I got back, I was back in October, I got married in December, so, basically, and that was the end of October, so basically, 2 months after I got back, I was married. And that was the plan. We had planned that. But what that did for me was I came back and, I didn't have much structure. And then I was living with someone, and Macy, my wife, is very structured. And so that helped me a ton. And in knowing that, I think that's really good advice for anybody in general. Is anytime that I've felt super lost in my life, I don't know what to do. I have too many options. I'm not sleeping right. I'm not eating right.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that needs to change is the schedule needs to be structured.
Yeah.
You need to do the same things every day.
Mm-hmm.
And not that every day needs to be the same,
Right.
but you need these concrete things to hold you in place or you float away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's like a metaphor that's you literally start losing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you need something to tie you down, whether that's like I wake up at this time, I go to bed at this time every single day.
Yeah.
I have this meal at this time, I run at this time, whatever it is. I think that's the biggest thing, and that got implemented for me without me even realizing that it was being implemented.
Yeah.
Because basically it's like, we get up for work at this time, go to work.
Yeah.
But we get home, we have dinner at this time, and then we promise ourselves to go to bed together.
Yeah.
So I was going to bed at a set time because she needed to wake up.
Right.
She had studied and stuff like that. So without even knowing it, I fell into this beautiful schedule, and that saved me.
Yeah.
And so I think that for anybody, if you feel super crazy lost and you're just wandering mentally, that's the first thing that you can change, and you can do that without a job, without school, without anything, because that's all personal development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that would probably be my greatest advice just through learning the transition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing that you're doing is like you're running a ton. You've never really ran before.
No, I've never been like, oh, I'm just going to go for a run. And then like, it was like just kind of started to pick. I mean, I don't even know. Did I start running before the...
You did.
Before our challenge
you ran a couple times.
And it just has helped me a lot with just, one, having something to do.
Right.
Two, also exercise.
Right.
Not just sitting on my ass all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy how much I've never ran before. I've never been a runner.
No.
I hated running distance. I hated distance. Like high school track, I was always like doing like the short distance stuff, or like in the military with our physical with the PT test, it was push up, sit ups, and then the 1.5 mile run.
Right.
Dreaded the 1.5 mile run. It was terrible, and it was like that was like the main thing, you're training for is that 1.5 mile run, trying to get your time down, and everything. And now that I'm out, I don't have to worry about training for push-ups, sit-ups in a certain time, and then running 1.5 miles in a certain time. Now that I can just run on my own time and for enjoyment and just kind of relax and just do it. I never thought I'd just be casually go running 7 miles.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you did 9 the other day, dude.
No,
it was like over 9 miles I saw on the thing.
No, I think it was still, because I've only done that certain
okay.
It's like 6. It was like 6.9.
Oh, jeez.
So it's basically 7 miles.
Nice.
And I've only the last time I tried to cut down the walking, like I said, I cut down the pace a little bit, slowed my pace a little bit, so I wasn't exhausting my muscles as much. And I think I probably walked 5-6 times, and I tried to keep it short, just maybe a minute of walking,
right,
and then get right back into that pace. And I never thought I'd actually ever just start running like this, and I want to keep it up. Even this month we're doing a challenge where it's sober October, no drinking or drugs, anything like that, and then also exercising, getting 15 1 hour exercise or exercise stints in for the month. And I want to continue it past that and just kind of have it as almost, I wouldn't say a hobby, but just something that I do, because it really helps just clear your mind. And man, I get back and I feel good. I feel great, even though my legs are like dead, and I'm like, oh, why do I do this? But like, you just feel great.
Oh yeah.
Afterwards, you feel like you've accomplished something. It's just,
it's true.
It's crazy.
And that's the perfect transition to I want to get into Sober October, because I hope that people listen to this, and I hope that the people who listen to this are the type that would like to change, and not just like saying you're in a bad spot, but I am a firm believer in that we can continually get better.
Always.
We're forever changing, and it's up to you whether that's negative or positive. And so we do these challenges throughout the year, and October is a big one. Sober October, you might have heard of it before. We have our own little spin on it, and that we do these 15-hour-long workouts throughout. because it's truly a detox.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, October just hits the timing
Mm-hmm.
where I've just gone a little too far with drinking.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but by September, I'm drinking too much.
Mm.
And truly is that detox and look towards health. So, I mean, the week before October started, I was like, I'm drinking every night. Let's go.
You gotta take advantage of it. Like, well,
let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, like the pain before the grind. It's almost like I want to make it worse for myself. so the challenge is harder. So I remember drinking every night before, and
for the last week.
Last week I drank every night.
Every night, dang.
And that was familiar to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to drink. I don't know about you, but when I was in, I drank pretty much every single night.
It got to that point.
Comes in waves.
It was like, and it wasn't like, you're getting out and getting hammered. It was like,
right.
Maybe you have a couple drinks, or you have a couple beers. That's what it got to be. Was like, have a couple beers or something. Especially like, man, stateside for sure. I don't know why. It was just get home and I'm like, dude, I want a beer.
Right.
Have a couple beers and
it's super natural, and in our times too, it's super normal.
Yeah.
So it's not frowned upon to have a beer after work.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely normal.
So you get into these rhythms, and I am a rhythm person.
Mm-hmm.
Mason makes fun of me. Whenever I eat a snack food that's small, I grab a handful, and then I put one between my two fingers, and I throw it in my mouth. And I'll sit there for 30 minutes and just throw it in my mouth every couple seconds.
Yeah.
It's just like a habit.
Yeah.
And it just keep doing it. And she'll be like, stop. And like, I didn't even realize I was just throwing stuff in my mouth for 30 minutes.
Just chucking stuff in your mouth.
It happens. So you get into these rhythms, and I know for me, drinking is one of those things. And so coming into October, I don't know about you, but this has probably been the hardest first 2 weeks of this challenge that we've done yet. And we went to eat last night. We went to a steakhouse. And I was just thinking to myself, I would have got a beer.
Oh, man.
It sounded so good.
Yeah.
Very hard to break that for me. And it's weird because a lot of these challenges are things that we do that you don't really have to do.
No, yeah.
No one's telling you stop drinking.
Right. It's all on you.
It's on you.
Mm-hmm.
But going through those resets, it really helps structure the mind for any challenge to come. Because most things that are good for you don't really want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do this. I don't want to not drink. Yeah. I don't want to go out to eat and not get a beer.
Man, I think just sorry, kind of cut you off there. I was gonna say like going out to eat because I haven't gone out to eat actually gone out to eat in a restaurant. I don't know if I've gone out yet this month to a restaurant. So that's definitely the biggest. That's the habit for me.
Yeah.
Going out to a restaurant and getting a meal, you grab a beer with that.
Right.
Every time.
Every single
pretty much. And so I think that's
it was very hard.
Yeah.
And you can get out of the I don't have just drinks in the fridge, so that's easy because I don't really have to see it.
Yeah.
But then something will come up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that's that little bit of reset, and that's a little bit of thing is I don't have to do this. We could all fail if we want to.
No, absolutely, and we're not going to criticize it. Well, I mean,
if
we all failed, if we all failed, we'd actually probably criticize each other and be like, "Yo, what is happening?"
But yeah, overall, we're not you can fail, and I think that's the hardest part of it is that truly no one's telling you you have to do this.
Yeah.
It all comes from you. You make up that decision on your own, and I think developing that muscle mentally is why you're able to just go run. And literally 0 people told you to go run.
Yeah.
No one even hinted at you to go run.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to force myself into this painful thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the end and you feel that relief. Yeah. And we're going to get to the end of this month and we're going to drink that beer and be like, we did that. We did that month.
Yeah.
We did all these exercises. We're going to feel better.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And that first step is making that choice.
Yeah.
Even though it sucks.
Dude, it's sucks so bad.
Dude, it's what, the 10th? The 9th? We're not even the 3rd through yet? Yeah. Come on, man. But it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely.
And if you're listening to this and you want in on what we do, Definitely let us know because we have a Discord for these challenges. We have a few throughout the year. The next one is going to be Cold Shower December. It is the worst one.
Oh yeah,
and also the most fun.
It is the most fun
because every single day, every one of us has to take a cold shower in the middle of one of the coldest months of the year.
Yeah. And I was thinking whenever after a couple times, these past couple times after I went and ran, I've taken a cold shower and it's felt great. But it's because it's 80 degrees outside. I just went on a 7-mile run, and it's not the middle of December, and I'm just coming home after being in cold all day, and I'm like, oh man, I just want a warm shower. Yeah, I was thinking about that too after I was saying, man, cold shower felt great. I was like, yeah, it felt great, and I was thinking, man, cold shower December, cake. And I was like,
nope.
No, it's not because it's gonna be cold.
Very cold. Yeah. And I'm gonna be snow pushing too.
Oh
so I'm gonna be outside for a long time.
Yep. I say, yeah. For me, luckily, I'll be in a climate controlled shop, so I'll be okay. It's still not gonna take away from being cold outside,
but yeah, if you want in on that, let us know.
Yes.
We do these yearly. This will be our third one.
Yeah.
This December. We're hoping to get a bunch of guys in there. It's a good time. If you like pushing yourself through horrible things for very little reward,
strengthen your mind.
Hit us up on that. So we got 10 minutes left here. I do want to talk about something we both love. Just a lighter topic in general, and that would be motorcycles.
Absolutely.
So I know for a fact that growing up, you thought about sports cars and motorcycles.
Absolutely.
I mean,
what kid doesn't?
What boy coming of age doesn't think about any adrenaline thing like that?
Yeah.
And so my question for you is, because I know a lot of people think about this stuff, and they never actually do it. And I used to be just like that. I used to think oh, it'd be so cool if I had a motorcycle, when in fact I could literally just go get a motorcycle. So what pushed you through going from oh, I wonder, oh, I dream about this, oh, all this, to being now you have one?
Yeah.
How did you just push through that and now you're here?
Man, I never really thought about that, where it was because my dad, that was he's the one who got me into motorcycles because he grew up on a farm. They had dirt bikes all the time. Him and his two brothers, they always had dirt bikes here and there all the time, and he has a motorcycle now and everything, and seeing that, of course, got me into it. I was like, man, it looks like so much fun, and ridden start with with the little ones, the little kid ones, and I'm like, man, it's so much fun. And man, trying to think of what actually pushed me from just dreaming about it to doing it was, because I was in Arizona in the summertime, and I don't remember what actually I was. I think I just started looking on Craigslist and just seeing, and I had some money saved up and everything, and it was I started looking at prices and looking, what's out there, what condition, for what can I get for this amount of money. That's a good bike that I don't have to, that I can ride, that I can just pay for it, boom, and ride it. And it's, maybe it needs a few little things. And I found one, and I was looking, I was I got some money saved up. I was I feel like that's kind of how I am as a person. I just kind of send it on a lot of things.
Right.
Literally my car that I bought, the Civic.
Yeah.
I bought that in one day. I went in, looked at it. Granted, I'd seen it online. I went in, test drove it, and bought it that same day. Because I just knew that I wanted it. And I was I want this car. And yeah. And so the bike, I was it was a good price. It was a solid bike. It was well taken care of. And test drove it and brought it back. And I was yep, I'll take it.
It's the one.
Yeah. And I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, exactly.
And I will never look back because that was my first. It's the first bike I've ever owned, and I love it, man. I love this thing. It's great, and it's kind of crazy going just from you think about, man, that'd be so cool. I want a motorcycle someday, and then you're like, dude, I have a motorcycle.
Yeah, you're there now.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I do. And okay, so I'm gonna say this with also saying, don't do this exactly, okay? But this is kind of how I work. Before I used to have a Firebird, if any of you guys know. Steven also had the Firebird.
Yep.
Before I bought the Firebird, may she rest in peace. Before I bought that, I had driven a manual car once. And it was a disaster. So
What did you drive?
I drove the Mazda Speed.
Oh, was it Elders?
Elders Mazda Speed.
Oh, okay.
He let me. I don't know why he did, because I
Yeah.
stalled it probably 15 times.
Right. I was gonna say you're gonna always stall. Yeah.
So literally just watching YouTube clips, driving it once, and again in a parking lot, stall it. Not good at all. I bought a manual car, right? And and I was like, I'm gonna get it, and I'm just gonna go in with fake confidence. I don't actually know what I'm doing, but I'm going to pretend so hard that it's just gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I did. That's what I did with the bike.
Yeah.
I had a 1-speed, fat tire Moab dirt bike. Not really a dirt bike. It was only with 30 miles an hour. Yeah. 1-speed, no manual at all.
You just twist the throttle and go.
The ones that were outside Home Depot 10 years ago when you were a kid.
Yeah.
I had that when I was a kid. That's the only motorcycle experience I've ever had. I've never ridden a motorcycle before that was manual or anything. Never gone faster than 30 miles an hour.
Oh, man.
And I bought a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that's what you got to do, but I think with most things that you dream about, there are these fake barriers in between you and that goal. Mm-hmm. And if you just push through them,
you just got to get through it.
You deal with the consequences afterwards. We're talking about good dreams here. You know what I'm saying? So the consequences are going to be very small.
Yeah. It's not going to be catastrophic.
No.
Yeah, they're small.
So I literally watched a bunch of YouTube videos, bought the bike, and I rode it away. I don't know how, but I rode it away.
You're like riding away, you're like, I'm actually doing this.
I don't have a license. This is the first time I've ever done it, and I did it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying full send that hard.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the barriers that you think are in front of you for dreams that you've had, especially if they're dreams you've had since you've been a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just got to do it and deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
And I know now, and probably after this, me and you're going to go ride both of our bikes.
Yep.
And the feeling that I get now every single time on a bike is, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm so lucky to be able to do this.
Every time I get on that,
and I don't look back. Mm-hmm. I don't look back at. I don't even think about until now the fact that I did it like that. So I don't know. To me, that feeling, like every time that and I know you get it too.
Mm-hmm. Every time I get on the bike, if I'm having a bad day or something, I'm just not good mentally. I know that I can just throw on the helmet, go out, get on the bike, and go ride.
Right.
I'll come back better. I'll come back feeling better.
Right.
Because when you're on that, when I'm on the bike, dude, and we feel the same about this. Everything goes away.
It goes away.
It's just you and the bike and the road.
And we don't have expensive bikes either.
No.
What's the bike?
We both have the same bike. It's a Honda Shadow. It's a 750.
750.
You know, we paid a couple grand for it.
Yep.
You paid a couple grand for yours. I paid a couple grand for mine. They're nothing crazy. They're nothing special. But they're ours though.
Right.
And that's what makes it special.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's man.
I love it, dude. And I think motorcycles is just one example of anything that you just think of when you're a kid or you wish you could do.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be motorcycles. It doesn't have to be sports cars and stuff. Adrenaline. It could be whatever it is. Whatever your dream is.
Whatever it is, man.
Let's turn this into a motivational speech or something. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Shia LaBeouf, just do it.
It's so true.
But he's not wrong though.
He's not wrong.
He's got a point. Just do it.
Just do it. And the feeling that we get on the bike is the same feeling you're gonna get doing that thing that you've always wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is. I know for me, and I'm gonna throw this out there right now, so we have to do it. We're gonna go skydiving. I know for a fact that we both wanted to do that.
Yes.
So I'm going to speak this out.
We got to speak it into existence.
We're going to go skydiving.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. Because I also know for a fact there's hella people out there that want to do it.
Yeah.
It's so accessible.
Yeah.
So we're going to go do that.
We're doing it.
And
right now.
I don't know.
See you guys.
I'm scared of heights.
Maybe not right now.
But we're going to do it.
It's going to happen.
It's going to do it. So I would challenge you, one, let us know if you want to join in on these challenges with us. Throw some structure in there if you're feeling lost. And if you're good on everything, I know for a fact that there's something in your head that's been bugging you that you've always thought of. It could be super simple, man. Mm-hmm. Or it could be something crazy.
Yeah.
Either way, take that first step, man. take that first step and let us know how it goes. I'm Nevin.
I'm Steven.
And we'll be back for another episode of this unnamed podcast.
Maybe we'll have a name next time.
We might have a name next time.
Probably not, but...
Well, yeah, on that one, we'll see you guys.
All right. Peace.